Everybody, we have an absolutely epic, riveting class today. We have 3 speakers today that are going to cover the topic of oils for survival, or we could say oils for preparation. And I love this topic. You're going to love this topic because have you ever had a friend that desperately needed an oil and you didn't have it? It's a horrible feeling. We've all been there. So we're just going to be talking about being prepared for whatever happens. And this is something I've been passionate about for many years, but definitely ahead of my time. And now I think all of us would agree this is a great time to be prepared. So today we're going to have the one and only Beverly Banks is teaching. We have the amazing, awesome Lauren Roberts teaching today, and the beautiful, intelligent, adventurous Elizabeth Rose speaking today. So welcome, girls.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry, I have you pinned there, Elizabeth. Hi.
Wow, wonderful. Welcome to the living room.
Well, welcome everyone to Essential Oils for Survival. And this class, the 3 of us kind of put together because we have a lot of people that are interested in this topic, and I am actually really interested in this topic as well. And that's like a great way to do it, right? Like if you're really interested in something, you may as well wrap a class around it and teach it to others, because you know others are asking the same question that you are. So so welcome to Essential Oils for Survival. Okay, so before we jump in, I do want to point out that, so we have these wonderful, great hand-drawn bottles that you will see. However, what you won't see are vitality bottles, only because we couldn't find any hand-drawn vitality bottles, and we thought that these guys looked really good. So I do want to just let you know that there is a difference between your colored bottle essential oils and the white bottled essential oils that you're going to see. And the difference is that if they have the colored label, then they are labeled for aromatic use and topical use. If they have the white label, then they are approved for safe for ingestion. And so I did want to point that out because you won't be seeing the white bottles, but we will be talking about vitality bottles and actually being able to support your body from the inside out. But the only reason why you're not seeing them is because we couldn't find cute hand-drawn ones. So there you go. It was more about aesthetics a little bit. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to talk about one of the most important areas of survival, which is in your mind, okay? It is really important when things seem like they're going a little bit sideways that you just don't panic and you kind of take a little bit of a master over your attitude. And Lauren, I know you are fantastic with using essential oils for your attitude. What are some of your favorite ones?
By far, I would say Stress Away and Stress Away, Citrus Fresh, and Abundance are my 3 favorite. I use them all the time. I use them with my kids all the time. And Stress Away is so good for, well, doing exactly what it says. It just helps those stressful feelings calm down. And you can talk to like any first responder will tell you if you're in an emergency, the first thing to do is stop and breathe, because it calms down those feelings of panic and it allows your brain to actually focus and do what needs to get done. And Stress Away is like that in a bottle, where like you can just take a deep breath and look, you can literally feel like those feelings of stress go, whew, okay, I can do this, Citrus Fresh I love because it helps with positivity. It's such a bright, happy oil that like when you feel things like just sadness and heaviness, it brightens. It's a great way to brighten and keep that positive outlook going, which when you're in a survival situation, you absolutely need to keep positive. That's what's going to keep you going, keep you fighting, and keep you wanting to go forward, and then lastly with Abundance, I use Abundance every time I'm working. If I'm like coming up with a class or something, creating, I do Abundance all the time. It's really comforting and warming, but it's also very inspirational. So again, if you're in a survival situation, having Abundance going while you're having to creatively strategize and think outside of the box is just going to help so much more.
Alrighty, can I jump in?
Please.
I'm looking down this list, and Northern Lights Black Spruce is my all-time fave. It does not come in a Vitality bottle. However, when I smell it, something in my body gets triggered, and I just want to consume it. So I would say Northern Lights Black Spruce, balancing, grounding, and actually helps to release emotional blocks. So it's just one of those beautiful outdoorsy smells, but it's so grounding.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point, Elizabeth, because in situational stress, one of the things that we can feel is very unsupported and just very, some of my family, they sail, and so they use the term flappable versus unflappable, right? And so you feel like you're just kind of going all over the place. Like you're not exactly sure where the foundation is, especially if your foundation gets really rocked. And so really good essential oils for this are things like frankincense is really good for this. Frankincense, when you breathe it in, can actually help you to feel very supported, very grounded. And it can also help with situational depression as well. Like when you're just so overwhelmed by what's going on, you feel like you just can't make another decision. When you have that decision fatigue, frankincense is actually very, very good for that. Northern Lights Black Spruce, the one that Elizabeth just mentioned, is actually really, really good for that too. And then so is Sacred Mountain. And so your Northern Lights Black Spruce and your Sacred Mountain, I mean, these are your tree oils. And frankincense, of course, also comes from a tree. It's a resin. And so if you just think about the structure of these plants, deep roots, nice and grounded, nice and solid. I see Katie has like pulled out her oil over there. She's like, I'm already smelling it, baby. Oh, she's got her frankincense going over there. Yes. That's what it's really good for. And one of the essential oils that actually isn't on the slide, but I love, is this one right here. This is motivation. And I use motivation all the time to just kind of get up and get going and get a fresh sense of the day. So controlling your attitude might not seem like a survival technique, but it absolutely is to get you centered to where you need to be. So, so anything else, ladies, that you guys want to share about just mastering your attitude, or anybody who is on Zoom or on Facebook, if you want to put something in the comment, like jump on in when it comes to like attitude in survival situations.
I would just say I have a friend who is a nurse in the oncology unit at her hospital, and she says hands down the people who make it, especially through aggressive cancers versus the ones who don't, have a good attitude. And she said it sounds so simple, but that really is the make or break thing of when you can set your attitude of, okay, I can do this, I'm going to go through this, and it's going to be hard, but I'm going to be positive about this. It really is the make or break thing. That's why we put mastering your attitude first, because it's something that can easily be forgotten, but it really is a cornerstone of survival.
Yeah, for sure. And I've heard that too on when it comes to cancer and things like that. And that's why you see like Citrus Fresh Essential Oil is on here. Orange Vitality is also really, really good for this. You see the orange bottle on there because those citrus oils are very, very uplifting for your attitude. And so if you're in a survival situation or not, if you just, a natural disaster could not hit, yet you feel as though you are in a survival situation, those citrus oils are going to really pull you up. Okay, so staying energized is also really important. When your emotions aren't good, your physical body tends to feel very, very depleted. Like it is so hard to get up and get motivated and do the things you need to do to survive when your mind and your body are out of sync. Okay, so getting your mind right with those essential oils is important, but then energy, really important. And I just want to jump in there really quick and say that the actual energy blend, definitely one of my top oils, you guys. This oil is so amazing. When I'm just feeling it, when I'm just feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I want to engage with anything today, diffusing the energy oil. I actually have a protocol for this, and I should have probably put it on a slide. But what I'll do is I will diffuse energy essential oils for 1 hour. I will diffuse motivation essential oils for that next hour. And then I will diffuse the inner child essential oil for another hour. And then if I need to go back through and do another round, I will totally do another round. The other thing that I do too is I don't actually clean out the diffuser in between. I just add. So it's like I will add the energy to my clean diffuser water, diffuse it for an hour, fill it back up, toss a couple of drops of motivation on there, diffuse that for an hour, fill it back up, a couple of drops of inner child on there. And that blend, I'm telling you, it is better than coffee. So I'm sipping my sleek tea, just in case anybody wants to know, like, Bev, if that's better than coffee, then why are you drinking coffee? It's sleek tea. Yeah. So who else has some great, Lauren, what do you love? What is your energy go-to?
So my energy go-to, first thing in the morning usually is peppermint or lemon. I have two sweet daughters who love to get up, Lord help me, between 5 and 5:30 every morning. And so so I will always grab the peppermint or the lemon bottle, and I'll usually just have it on hand, and just take a few whiffs as we go on our morning walk and just get things going, and usually by the end of the walk, I'm good to go.
Lauren, share your drink concoction too, the one that you were just telling me about this morning.
Yeah,
that sounded really yummy.
I just created this week this new drink concoction. It's 2 ounces of Ninja, 2 ounces of coconut water, because coconut water is like one of the best sources of natural electrolytes, and then 2 ounces of pineapple juice, which is so good for your gut. And then I usually put a couple drops of grapefruit oil in it, and then I top it off with water, and it is so good. It's just like a tropical delight. It's awesome, and it like surcharges you for the morning.
That sounds really good. And if anybody else has like an energy drink that they love that is like essential oil infused, put it in the comments over on Facebook or put it in the chat over here. So Elizabeth, what about your favorite like go-to energy oils?
Oh my goodness. Well, definitely peppermint. Peppermint Vitality is one that I love adding to my water. And so because I've had the blessing of using essential oils for 26 years, ever since I was 6 years old, one thing I remember was when I used to show jump horses in Arizona, and it was like 95 degrees during, we're in full gear with our horses, everything. I would just have a bottle of cold water and with my Peppermint Vitality in it, and it literally like kept me sane and kept me going throughout the day. And then sometimes I would take a little bit and just put it on the back of my neck and have that kind of a cooling sensation on my neck. So huge thing. And then what's beautiful too is there was one time where I drank such cold ice water that it actually like made my tummy really wheezy. And because somebody just handed me this ice cold bottle of water. So I ended up putting peppermint just on my tummy topically, and that kind of soothed it. So I know we're not talking about tummy stuff right now, but as far as staying energized when you're like hot and you're just exhausted and you're going or you're exercising or you're, if you are on the go kind of a thing, peppermint's a huge one that I'd recommend for everybody to have on hand.
Yeah, absolutely. That one's a great one. And you are also going to see, sometimes you will see the same essential oil on multiple slides. And that's because essential oils really do a number of different things. And so one of the things that I want to point out when it comes to blends versus single oils is that single oils tend to be a little more broad. They're going to do a lot more for you. For example, the lemon essential oil, that D-limonene that's in it, the other, different constituents that are in it are going to uplift your emotions, and they're going to, help to keep you bright and happy. But also that scent is going to energize you because of all of that added goodness that you're putting up into the air. And then if you take lemon vitality essential oil, again, the white bottle, and you put a couple of drops into your water and you drink it, on the inside of your body, it's going to help to support a healthy body while giving you energy and uplifting your emotions. Now, if you see a blend like the energy oil, for example, you can tell that the oil was blended together from single oils for one exact purpose. And its purpose is energy. That is what it was made for. So I kind of see the single oils as being a little bit more broad spectrum. But those blends, you guys, Gary Young blended those together with the help of scientists and testing to really make sure that they are the scalpel getting in there doing maybe one or two things that they were specifically designed for. So if you're like, why do I see lemon on almost every slide? Well, that's because it's a fantastic oil, and pretty much lemon, peppermint, and lavender. If you have those three, probably kick in a little frankincense, and you're like, what should I use? What should I use? Grab one of those guys. It's going to help you out. But if what you need is energy, grab that blend and you will not be sorry.
Energy is actually a favorite blend as well. And I took that on my camping trip recently and used it before we did like a 2-mile bike ride. And I feel like it really helped me keep up the energy during that.
Yes, and actually a recent study that you guys can see was done by Doc Ollie with the Young Living Peppermint. And he actually would work a lot with athletes. And one of the things that he did is into the water bottle of some athletes, he would put peppermint, and then he had his like control athletes, right? Now he also had before and afters of all of these athletes. And what he discovered is with peppermint in their water, drinking it while they were working out, they actually were able to work out 30% longer than if they were without the peppermint in their water. And so that's a really powerful one, especially for energy.
Fabulous. Wow.
So let's talk about clean water. Elizabeth, you have like the craziest clean water story of all time. And it was the oil that she'll talk about is actually Vitality. And again, apologize, you guys, no white bottles.
Yes. Well, so this is a testimony from Marcella von Harding, who's a Royal Crown Diamond with Young Living, and she was in Egypt. I think that my mother might have been a personal witness to this, but basically they were traveling and she got some water that she wasn't sure if it was very pure. So she decided to put a few drops of the Energized Vitality in there and just waited and watched, and like the gunk in the water kind of coagulated and rose to the top and floated on the top. So she just discarded it and drank the water because that's all they had to drink at the time. Yeah, so Energized Vitality, and that one I'll talk more about some uses that I've used it for later here. But another really good one is Lemon Vitality, because anybody that likes to store water, and I highly suggest, like, go to Walmart, get the 5-gallon bottles, or find some really good quality glass bottles. If you love
like empty Ningxia Red bottles, right?
Ningxia Red, yes.
Ningxia
Okay,
Red
so
bottles.
use our own Ningxia Red bottles. Absolutely. Glass is better than plastic, but do what you can. And when you fill it up, add a few drops of the Lemon Vitality oil, because lemon just keeps it fresh and keeps it clean as it's being stored.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great tip, Elizabeth. And also Citrus Fresh is really good for that too. So Lauren, do you have, what is your favorite one for the water or for clean water?
My favorite one is lemon. I love the taste for one. And I love that the purifying properties that lemon has. It's such a cleanser. It's going to just strip the water clean. And I love that.
That's fantastic. Now, you actually told me the best place to find clean water if you are like in the woods. And I think that's really valuable if you want to share.
Yeah, so the best, if you're in the woods, I found out this because I had a friend who learned the hard way. The best place for getting water is running water, and specifically over rocks. So if it's water gets really impure when it's stagnant. And the rocks just add an extra layer of beating of getting all of the yucky stuff out of the water. And so I actually had a friend in high school on a cross-country camp who came across some stagnant water on a run and was thirsty, and it looked clear. And she drank it, and God bless her, was Vesuvius for like the next 24 hours. And so, yeah, definitely looking for, moving water and moving water over rocks, like best case scenario.
Yeah, that is really, really good to know.
Plus, there are those straws that actually
Yes.
filter water that you can put in a water bottle. So I would never tell someone that using essential oils replaces having good filtration.
Right.
But if you're in a bind, have it as an addition to your filtration or use it if that's all you have.
Yeah, or in a restaurant sometimes. I know, so Elizabeth and I and Terry actually, we were able to go to the Philippines together a few years ago. And one of the things that I bought that I think should also be in your go bag is a portable water filter. And I just got it right off on Amazon. I want to say it was like maybe $20, and you could actually go to a spigot and twist it into any spigot, and it would filter the water as it came down into the bottle. And in this particular situation, even though we had running water, it was not recommended that you drink it. And it was also not recommended that you brush your teeth with it. So it was really good to kind of have this thing on hand. And now it's a constant in my bag when I travel. So because you never know, especially these days when you're traveling, you never know which direction that plane is going to send you. You might end up in an unexpected country where you want to have that with you. Hi, Terry.
Hello, hello. I'm sitting over there, but I don't have access to talk, so I just wanted to pop in and say something amazing about Energized. Do I have a second?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
So our family went to a restaurant, this is many years ago, and we definitely got food poisoning, at least I did.
Yeah.
And so driving home, I was doubled over, like literally doubled over with my head in my lap in horrible pain. And Elizabeth got the Energized out and marinated my stomach in it. And before we ever got home, I was completely over it.
Wow.
That's amazing, Terry. I could be wrong, but I feel like perhaps you had told me a story about your horse.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, tell me that again, because I think that's really valuable information.
You want to come sit down?
Yeah, it's a great story. So, you know, we all know that our animals love a lot of the oils, and like horses love valor. But we all know the smell of Energized is kind of interesting, right? So anyway, I had a horse that had a really bad colic, and the vet refused to come out because we lived so far out in the country, which was really sad. So I thought, okay, I got it, Lord, you know, what do I have? So I dumped out his whole trough of water, and I gave him just a bucket of water with 25 drops of Energized in it. And he was so thirsty. He came up to that water and he was so mad because it smelled so bad.
Oh yeah.
And he snorted and sniffed and snorted. And finally, after a couple hours, he was so thirsty, he drank the whole bucket of water and proceeded to have the worst ever, you know, expelling, you know, what was stuck in there. And ever since then, I've always used Energized, rubbing it on my horses' bellies, and, you know, even in the frog of the hoof is even good. And so, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
a God
great.
Mhm.
That's a really, really good story, I think, especially, you know, and to have there in your go bag. And
Yeah.
and so, and then I just want to clarify again that the Energized Vitality is the one that
Yeah.
you ingest. And then the other Energized, the one that is in the red, it's actually a red bottle for Energized, is the one that you would put on topically. And so just know that. I know I'm repeating it a lot, but it's just really good to know. So thank you so much, Terry.
All
Chime in
right. I'm right
anytime.
here. I'm over here.
She's on the couch.
Okay, so let's talk about clean air, and I'm happy for this one because now I can talk about purification.
Hey. I know you've been trying to get to that all morning.
I know, because I feel like purification should definitely be in everyone's go bag, because it does what it says, which is to purify. And so to put it up into the air, and when I'm thinking clean air, I most often, like in our daily lives, I'm sorry, I was distracted because my bunny got loose and now it's here. I'm sorry. Okay. I was like, oh, bunny. Okay. So so when it comes to purification and when it comes to thieves, what I think about is I actually think about when large groups of people kind of gather together. So, and even before, you know, we were having issues with people gathering together, I would think about that, like, especially around Thanksgiving, Christmas, when you're having like these big dinners. And so putting a purification or a thieves up into the air is the best thing you can do. Like, not only does thieves smell like Christmas, but then you're just helping a little bit get that air clean, have it smelling fresh, covering up some food smells, but also potentially getting rid of some of the yucky things that can be floating around in the air. So that's what I love about those two. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Big story with that. When I first moved into college, I went to school in Jackson, Mississippi, and so I lived in a dorm room with one other woman, and we shared a bathroom and had two other ladies, and so those two rooms shared an air conditioner unit, and it just so happened that once the humidity got really bad, a lot of folks started getting sick. And I did a little bit of research and realized there could be some stuff looming in our air vents. So I just started diffusing the Thieves blend. And literally it did whatever it needed to help our own bodies and maybe what was in the air, and greatly reduced myself and my roommates getting, all the sniffles and everything. So there's so many other stories I could say with diffusing Thieves. But that's a huge one. And
to that,
something I love to do is just in a hotel room too. Like, if all you have is a cotton ball, just put some drops of Thieves in it, stick it in the air vent in a hotel room, and get that into the air, because you never know what's floating around.
Absolutely. To that end, Elizabeth, about 2 months ago, we live in an apartment and on the bottom floor, and our upstairs neighbor's hot water pipe burst, and we literally had a waterfall coming through our guest bathroom, and it flooded our whole apartment. What we did after, besides bringing in the giant fans and all the things, was we did purification 24/7.
Cool.
To the point of when the mold experts came, they were shocked that they did not find what they were expecting to find with, your floor being covered in water for 8 hours. And it really is because it was constantly purifying the air. And so it wasn't allowing particles and, whatever, the yuck to settle. And because of that, it was just simultaneously cleaning as it was getting dirty. So it was awesome. It saved us so much time.
That's powerful. And if you think about in a home, I know we're talking preparedness, but in a home, your carpet or rugs can get a lot of stuff in them that can cause allergens and all sorts of things. So if somebody has a wet vac where it has water in there and then it, goes and does its vacuuming, I've had a lot of folks add Thieves or purification to their wet vac because that helps clean the floor of the home.
Also, a rainbow vacuum cleaner uses water. It's really good.
Mom is saying the Rainbow brand of vacuum cleaner works really well with that.
Yes, and Terry, you should be able to mute yourself now. So I just caught up with everybody who's waiting to become panelists. I just
Beverly
promoted you guys so we can hear from you.
Multitasker.
Oh,
Let's see.
Oops, okay, so let's back up. Okay, so this is clean food. And again, when you're purifying food, you definitely want to go with the Vitalities. I know, Bev, stop saying it. No, it's not going to happen. You have to know it's Vitalities oils that you are going to be using on your food. So knowing what plants are edible is really important. And also, like, if you guys have never done an edible food tour of your area, I highly recommend it. Usually you can find one online, and in different areas, like you can look on different city websites and stuff like that. They usually have them, which is great. But the one thing I was surprised to find out when I went on an edible food tour of my area is that even in cultivated areas where you have housing and things like that, you'll be able to find editable plants, but you don't want to pick them off and just shove them into your mouth, because there can be things like pesticides on them. And there can be all sorts. People will really manicure their lawns, and you're looking at a lot of chemicals, a lot of pesticides. So one of the things that you can do is you can actually pick your edible plants and bring them home and put them in Thieves fruit and veggie wash. If you're on the go, it might not be convenient for you to carry that with you. Okay. So one of the tricks that you can use is just to get some water into your pot, or, just together, and either put a little bit of lemon or a little bit of thieves or both in there, and just go ahead and soak your fruit for a few minutes before you eat it, or your edible plants, or even fish and things like that you catch. Elizabeth, you were actually telling me about cleaning salmon, right? Was that with lemon?
Yes, because what's interesting, we think of putting lemon on salmon as just something as a flavor. So if you can imagine, washing your salmon in lemon actually can have the effect of helping get off anything that could be potentially harmful, on the salmon. But then infusing it with a little bit of that flavor. Some folks actually use lemon in their recipes, like doing a pour over sauce for their salmon too. So there you go. You can clean it and make a sauce.
Yes, Terry actually has a really good recipe for vinaigrettes that has that lemon essential oil in there. And so if you have that Eating Out of Heaven's Garden book, I want to say that the vinaigrette is actually in that book, but we'll have to get her to share that recipe into the Royal Dream Team, maybe Terry, because that's an amazing vinaigrette. So Lauren, what about, do you have like a favorite for your food?
I would say I usually use Thieves just because it is like the all-star when it comes to wellness and health. And so I love just soaking it, and like you can see, much like the Energized story that Elizabeth told with the water, you can see the yuck start to float to the top or sink to the bottom. It never ceases to amaze me what is left behind from even like clean looking fruit. And so absolutely, it's something that I use all the time, actually. One of the things that I do to help make my produce last longer is when I bring it home from the grocery store, I wash everything immediately right then. And consequently, it adds about a week to 2 weeks to its shelf life. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, I actually recently learned from Cheryl. So Cheryl is one of our team members who has been posting all this really cool stuff this last month. And so she posted this thing about saving fruit as well, and taking a glass jar and actually putting your strawberries into a glass jar that has a lid instead of just like sticking them into the refrigerator. And that actually will keep them fresher so much longer than if you just leave them in the plastic container. But also, if you pick strawberries out of your garden, you can put them into that glass jar as well, and you will be good to go. So
going to just have one thing to add real quickly. When we think about things like preparedness and survival, I highly encourage everyone, save your Ningxia red bottles, fill them with pure water and several drops of lemon vitality oil, and put them in your pantry or your storage room or whatever, because those glass bottles of Ningxia red are such high quality, and lemon will keep your water fresh longer. So if let's just say, for example, in hurricane season in Florida, we've had many outages, many power outages, and having those Ningxia red bottles of water with lemon has been a lifesaver. So never throw away a Ningxia red bottle. In fact, I just got to show you guys this. I'm so jealous of, I don't know where Elizabeth got these, but I'm honestly, I'm rarely ever jealous of in my life, but look at this. Can you see this? This is somebody that takes, hold on. They take the Ningxia red bottles and they turn them into the most beautiful glass ever. Isn't this just gorgeous?
That's really awesome. I love those. By the way, Elizabeth, if you're like, what can I get Bev for Christmas? Just throwing it out there.
Me too. That's what I want too.
Christina Campbell says her husband makes those. So Christina Campbell, if you're wanting to know what to get Beverly for Christmas, just kidding. Yes, those are amazing. I'm jealous. So this is Kenneth.
Yeah. Ningxia red, sulfurzyme, and lime. And
wow, that's awesome. So, okay, you guys, I have to play moderator and say we have to go a little faster. We are running out of time. So let me see here. And you guys, Donald Tuman's actually putting some good things over there in the chat if you happen to be on Zoom. You may have to catch it later, but make sure you stay with him. Okay, so digest right. Of course, all of these should be the Vitality bottles if you're going to take them on the inside. If you're putting them on topically, then they don't have to be. So just keep that in mind. And so we kind of talked a lot about digestion, just kind of along the way. Peppermint is a huge one, but the Peppermint Vitality as well as the Energized Vitality are fantastic for this. The Aroma Ease is also really good, especially for kids. So Aroma Ease tends to be a little bit more gentle. And then of course there is Tummy Jize as well for the kids it's just a little roll-on that you can put over their tummy. And that one is really soothing. And then this staying cool with peppermint is something Elizabeth actually had reminded us of before when she was talking about putting a little stripe of peppermint over the back of your neck. One of the other things you can do with it as well is just to take a piece of cloth that you have and put it in water that has a little peppermint in it. And if somebody is really overheating, you can put that cloth around your neck. You can also put cloths under your armpits as well. And that menthol will feel so good and it will help to cool down your internal body temperature.
Totally. One thing I could say about that though is be sure that you don't get it in your eyes. So if you're using it and you're putting it, on your back of your neck, just probably beware of your forehead because you don't want the water with peppermint stripping your eyes.
Yes, very good point. Peppermint is a very hot oil. So especially with the kids, you just want to be okay with that. And so talking about skin and hair, because I wanted to spend a little bit of time on skin, especially when it comes to things like bug bites. And because I think this is a kind of a big deal when you are in a survival situation and you are outside. We found some really fun oils that are fantastic for skin and your hair. And one of my biggest surprises, you guys, is that clove, head lice, and fleas do not like clove essential oil. And I didn't know that before researching for this class. And so one of the things that you can do is take clove and put a couple of drops in your hands and just swipe your clove through your hair. And it will help to keep some of those little outdoor annoyances at bay. And so that is completely something new that I learned when we were looking up different oils for this class.
Yeah, and lavender, when it comes to bites, rashes, it's just a lifesaver. For example, I live in Arizona, so we deal with scorpions. And my 5-year-old got stung by a scorpion 3 times in the foot a few months ago, right at the beginning of summer. And when I looked up how to deal with it, basically they said ice it so the poison stays in one place, and then give them Tylenol. And it's going to take about 3 weeks for the pain to go away. And it was so excruciating for her. She couldn't even walk because it was right on the bottom of her foot. And so I made a blend of like 10 to 15 drops of lavender and 10 to 15 drops of purification and would roll it on her foot about 3 times a day. And I kid you not, by the next day, she was able to walk. And within 5 days, it was totally gone. You would have never known. She only had to be on Tylenol for that first day. And it just pulls out the poison. It's so good at pulling it out. It will look worse before it looks better. So just FYI, like you get a mosquito bite or something, it will get like hard and kind of whitey for the first day, and then it gets better and it'll shrink by half. It's amazing how well it takes care of your skin.
Yeah, it's a good one. And Terry, you had a story too, right? Of something like getting a bite on your foot, or Elizabeth, I know that you've shared this story with
Yes.
me also. But yeah,
yeah. So basically, in the middle of the night, I went to the restroom and I felt like I had stepped on a straight pin. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe I stepped on a scorpion. So sure enough, Bev, I turned on the light in the bathroom and there was like a baby scorpion, which has way more venom than an old scorpion. And then because I was half asleep, I did something that Scarlett O'Hara does in the famous movie. She says, I'll think about it tomorrow. So I go to bed, and by the time I wake up, I cannot even swallow. and I can barely breathe. And that is actually how some people die from scorpion bites, is because it closes up your entire respiratory system. So I went to work with Thieves, taking it internally and this sort of thing. Went to work with purification, marinating the area and purification. And really kind of similar to Lauren, I was much better in 3 days and I was over it in 5 days. And a neighbor of mine who had also gotten a scorpion bite right around the same time ended up doing the whole rounds of antibiotics and this and that. And I didn't have to do any of that. So guys, that's why you want your purification in your purse or your backpack, is because truly you want to do it the second you get a bite.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's really important too, being quick and not thinking about it tomorrow. That is so important. But haven't we all been there? Like, haven't you had something happen in the middle of the night and you're like, I'm sure I can just put this off until tomorrow. I think we've all been there. So I do want to move a little bit forward, because believe it or not, with as many different essential oils as we have mentioned so far in this class, there is, speaking of learning things, like there is a kit of oils that actually has every single one of these in it. Yeah. And I didn't even realize it. So I want to kind of like present that to you guys as well, just so that you know it is there and it is available for you to order. But sleeping well is also really important. These three are fantastic for sleeping well: your cedarwood, your Indoflex, and your lavender. One of the things that not sleeping well and stress, like your adrenal fatigue, will do is it will just wreak havoc on your hormones. And so it's so fantastic to have a topical essential oil that's very soothing, and really like help those areas like around your throat where your thyroid is. And that is what Indoflex is fantastic for. And then cedarwood, of course, is good for your natural melatonin. And lavender has been shown to encourage relaxation and healthy sleep patterns. So those are three important ones. And then, of course, we have beautiful essential oils for supporting your all over healthy immune system. So we've got a Thieves Vitality, which is great for that, and an Immune Power as well. And one of the things that is really good to do, and Terry actually taught me this, she would say to put Thieves essential oil on the bottoms of your feet and then switch to Immune Power essential oil and kind of flip back and forth between those two each night when you're in times of high stress and you're just exposed to a lot of things. Those two are fantastic for the bottoms of your feet. So next, and I do want to spend just a little bit on the respiratory slide, because things that are so soothing to your throat and your neck and your chest, I think are really important. And we have some fantastic essential oils that are great for that. And so I'm going to just talk about eucalyptus, and then Terry, I would love for you to talk a little bit about RC, because you know so many wonderful things about it. But the eucalyptus globulus, you guys, if you are in a situation where you are coughing and like it's getting annoying to all of your friends, right? So like you've had something, you're kind of over it, but you're still trying to live life, but your lungs are like still recovering. I know like that cough can last for such a long time. And so one of the tricks that I learned as well is you can actually open eucalyptus globulus and breathe it. And it has this scent that is really opening, like it's opening to your sinuses and it feels very opening to your lungs. And so I would actually take the phone and put the phone by my ear and keep the eucalyptus globulus under my nose so that I could breathe it. And that was the only way that I could actually get through conversations without having people be like, maybe you shouldn't be talking on the phone. Because it's like, you know, you're like over it, you're over whatever was making you cough, but you still have the cough. And so it's like, that's definitely one of the tricks, is the eucalyptus globulus. So yes, so Terry, I would love for you to tell us about RC.
Yeah, RC is amazing. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you're muted.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You know, there's a difference between oils that we just love and they just smell amazing and we just want to have them around, and oils that we need for survival. And I believe that RC is an oil we need for survival. And so it just has so many good individual oils. I like to think of it as respiratory comfort, RC, respiratory comfort. Putting it directly on our chest. Personally, I don't dilute it personally. Putting it over our lungs, a lung area. Joseph, my youngest, seemed to just be born with this a little bit of challenging area in his respiratory. And that was absolutely the go-to oil. Another really fun thing though, anybody watching that has children, if they come down with something respiratory, give them a foot massage with RC using, going like in between the toes and really massaging in between the toes and on that kind of the ball of the foot area. And notice that those oils will really, really benefit the lung area.
I just want to talk about in regards to RC and eucalyptus. Peppermint does the same thing. If you're in a type of survival situation where you have to hike and you have to travel long distances, my husband is a personal trainer and he will have his clients actually put this on their lungs, and it increases your breathing capacity so you can go further. And so I highly recommend, if you're even if you're going for a really long hike, it's not a survival thing and you're like going on like a 4 or 5 mile hike, put some on beforehand and you'll really get those good deep breaths and keep your body oxygenated so you stay energized and you have the endurance that you need to get through the hike.
Yeah, and same thing with just working out in the gym. I mean, I do that all the time. If I have to, sometimes I can't get outside because in Florida it rains a lot. And so I'll end up having to do like the treadmill or something like that. And what's nice is that when you use peppermint, it's a scent that everybody recognizes and people just immediately think icy hot, right? So it's like, it's sometimes like if you use Raven or something like that, it has this kind of unique scent and people will be like, what is that? But if you use peppermint, it's actually very opening. And then people are like, oh, she must just have a sore back. She just kicked back a little of the icy hot, so it's not that big of a deal when you're using it in an enclosed environment, like actually being at the gym or actually being around other people. So yeah, thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing that. Okay. So I do want to talk a little bit about first aid and things that, you're likely to come in common with. And the first one I think is muscle aches and pains and discomfort, because you're potentially you're sleeping on the ground, you're hiking long distances, you're doing things that your body on the daily does not typically tend to do. Okay. So especially when it's hot, you're uncomfortable or you're really cold, and shivering can be very hard on your muscles. And so one of the things you definitely want to make sure you have is your Panaway and your deep relief. Those two are fantastic for just soothing the muscles, soothing the joints. And what I like to do, the difference between the two, because sometimes people ask, for myself, what I love is I love putting on deep relief because it really goes in deep. Like if you're having that deep ache, like where it feels like the muscles around your spinal cord are just crazy, I put on deep relief, and then I like to top it with Panaway because I just feel like it drives it in there so much better. And on your feet, you guys, your dogs might be barking after a lot of that too. And even after exercise, those two are fantastic for that. Go ahead, Terry. Oh, you looked like you had unmuted, like you wanted to add something. Yeah, so go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, one of the things about Panaway that I love too is it's so good and comforting to joints. So again, if you're walking a long way, or if you're having to climb, or just not getting a great night's sleep or sleeping awkwardly can throw things out of whack. And just it's so good to just rub some on your knees, your ankles, elbows, shoulders, etc. And really just supports the joints nicely.
I can say too, for Panaway, that was my number one go-to when I rolled my ankle off a curve and just fell. Literally massive twisted ankle. It swelled up. And so I just got back to where I had my Panaway and put that on there. And it definitely helped it. So the trick about something like that is to actually use a little bit more often. So like 3 drops on the area, but every hour or even every 30 minutes, like literally every 30 minutes for the first 3 hours, put a little bit of Panaway on there. Top it off with Copaiba, and because that's just very soothing for the responses that happen when you get a sprain.
Yes, Copaiba Vitality is fantastic for just helping encourage like a healthy inflammatory response.
Yeah.
So it's really good. And Copaiba, the topical one, is great over that area as well.
Yeah.
You know, in regards to tea tree, first aid, tea tree is really good at cleansing. So any cuts or scrapes, it's really good with just getting any yuck out that you don't want in. As well as clove is awesome for if you have little ones, like teething and discomfort and stuff like that. My 5-year-old actually just got her first loose tooth. I'm actually surprised she's not in here like going, I have a loose tooth. But she was having a hard time like biting into stuff. And so I just put some clove on her gums. And I asked her not 30 seconds later, I was like, is it better? Do you notice a difference? And she's like, yeah, mama, I totally notice a difference. So clove is really good for helping discomfort as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then speaking of children, I feel like too, when kids, they can sometimes get different ear issues. And this is actually how I was personally introduced with Young Living essential oils, was experiencing some ear discomfort. The very first essential oil that I was given, and I was given this by Terry, you guys, was the Melrose Essential Oil. And so if you're dealing with some ear things going on, it's really nice to, and like soothing to your ear to take that Melrose and just put it on the outside of your ear. You never want to put essential oils inside your ear ever, but to rub it on the outside, rub it on the back of the ear that's experiencing that temporary discomfort. And you can even put a couple of drops on a cotton ball and just put it in, just kind of like set it in the outer part of the ear, if that makes sense, and sleep on it when you wake up in the morning. I mean, it's just so soothing. I know that I was blown away by it enough to get a kit and start a business. So Melrose,
Bev, I got a really quick
gateway oil, and that was mine. Go ahead, Tam.
Bev, I've got a really quick thing about Melrose that really actually blew my mind in a good way. So we were traveling, and someone introduced me to a school teacher in a very moist part of the country. It was in Arkansas. And she had had a horrible earache for 3 weeks and had already been on a couple of rounds of antibiotics. And her ear was 100% plugged up. So I asked her if she was open to trying anything natural. And she said, I would do anything. And so I said, do you have a cotton ball anywhere in the school? So she ran and got a cotton ball. And I put 3 drops of Melrose on the cotton ball and kind of squished it together. And she put it in her ear. And then I got busy talking to these other people that I had come to visit. And what do you know, Bev? She came running back to me. She said, oh my goodness, my ear is open. My ear is open. This is absolutely unbelievable. And it was literally like 15 minutes later after her ear had been plugged up for 3 days, 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Swimmer's ear too, Terry. I feel like swimmer's ear would be, the Melrose would be really good for that too.
Yeah, so this is a must-have for your first aid kit.
And on a side note too, if toenail fungus, you guys, Melrose. So I did just a little survey the other day in the Royal Dream Team. And if you guys want to see what people were saying, you can pop over there and take a look. But Melrose, hands down, was the one that people said that they used topically the most for things like toenail fungus. And the before and after photos that people were sharing would absolutely blow your mind. And so when you're out there, if you're out and about, your feet are wet and sweaty and stuff like that, it can definitely promote the growth of that fungus. And so keeping the Melrose around for that is really good as well. So I do, before we close up today, I want to let you know that there is actually a kit of oils that has every single one of these oils in it. And this was something that we kind of found when we started researching this topic on essential oils and survival. And so if you guys have not heard of this, or if you haven't explored it, I need you should take another look at the Select 30 kit of oils. And what's amazing is that Christina Campbell is on, and it is completely coincidental that she did an amazing class on this kit of oils. So if you're like, I want to know what else is in this, I want to go into some details on the different essential oils that are in the kit, the next class that you should watch is her class on these essential oils, and they're over on her YouTube channel. But you're going to get 15 blends as well as 15 singles. And because of the price point that it's at, you're going to get free shipping. And if this is somebody's first order, they're going to get 24% off of everything they order from Young Living for the next 12 months. And because now there is a little bit of a size difference. So like all of the oils that are in this kit are 5 milliliters. And some of them you can't buy individually in 5 milliliter bottles. So if you were to set about just collecting these essential oils, you would actually pay $842 for them if you started collecting the essential oils retail. And some of that is because of the size difference, but most of it is just because it's a fantastic deal when you actually get them all together. And more than that, they come in this kit. So it's something so convenient to have in a go bag, to have in your emergency area, and to just be able to grab and go when you need it. So I recommend, like, you can get with your upline or get with the person who helps you make your wellness plans, and you can wellness plan this on Subscribe to Save and get some great essential oils for free and start earning loyalty points. Or you can also grab them all together in this kit. It's 401. Let me see if I put the price on here. I know it's $401 and there's some change. Where's my price for this? Okay, so 401 and change. You can grab this kit of essential oils, and it is a fantastic deal. It's like more than half off what you would pay if you tried to collect them individually. So take a look at this one, or get together and actually make like a survival wellness plan and get on Subscribe to Save with loyalty points so you can maximize those discounts. Every single oil in that kit is amazing. So thank you guys very much for coming. I know we're a little bit over, but this is a fantastic topic. And I hope that you will join us for Wednesday Wisdom next week. I think we might be talking essential oils for traumatic situations, because that's what we got in. So we're going to go a little bit emotional with our oils next week. So join us for that. And thank you everyone for coming on.
Thank you guys so much. What a blessing. And you never know, we might get to see each other on the trail.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Lauren, also for being here with us. And Terry,
I'll say goodbye.
Always. Okay, Christina, Mary, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.